inform a person that they are incorporating as a next of kin, if at all they understand, perhaps someone who's 18 and above? Is it necessary for them to tell them that, by the way, mom, I have incorporated you as my next of kin, or you can just do it randomly?
It might be, it might not be.
Okay.
It might not be on account of security reasons.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because then again...
Yes.
All right, I get it.
Yeah, then it might be prudent to inform them on account of, you know, what the people who are charged to, you know, effect your appointment,
yes,
how they can behave. We have had instances in the past where the institution gets to make away with a portion of your properties. For
right.
instance, you have this much in terms of your savings at the SACCO. If you look at the books, perhaps it was coming to around 10 or so million, but then after your demise, you get it's around 6 or so million. You know, so it's important to also inform purely for accountability reasons, mm-hmm. and to also ensure that you know, your assets do not and ensure that your assets then get to be claimed.
Right. Because
failure to claim, then it then goes to the assets unclaimed assets authority.
Right. Okay. Well, interesting. When it goes there, it's as good as done.
Not quite so, because they always advertise, and
okay.
so unless
so that you are on alert.
Yes. So but then if you don't claim, then it goes to the exchequer.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to you shortly, but. Serria, what is this that you'd want for us to do different so that there's better understanding, and like you rightfully put it, the Gen Zs and all that, so that they are well aware as to what needs to be done as they get into this space where they now begin making money, and they know how to go about it, especially in relation to maybe civic education or thereabout?
Yeah. I think if you noticed, my concern was to allow Wakili to help us get light in terms of the responsibility,
mm-hmm.
one, and the roles, who takes what roles. If you noticed, basically he said the next of kin is in terms of speaking of a person who has been immortalized,
yeah,
or a person who has died. I believe there's certain responsibility that maybe this person will take. For example, should you have had debts? Maybe if you happen to die right now, mm-hmm. and maybe you had debts, does your next of kin takes onto account to clear the debts? Maybe it's loan. If you're a student, maybe you are done your academic loans. Or if you're in business, because most young people are starting and they have business,
yeah.
you had loans. And then do they get the power to distribute assets on your behalf?
Right.
That means like maybe, let's say I only have one car, that is my asset.
Yeah.
And I die. Maybe it's my mother who is my next of kin, and I've not written a will. As you've said, we can write a will, yeah?
Right.
And most young people, we don't write will. We believe that we may be living up to 40, 50, 60s. Then
when
that
we
is
begin
when we
thinking.
draft a will, yeah?
Yeah.
So who will dispose of my asset?
Right.
Or I've begun a business that is company, maybe having a valuation of mm-hmm. A certain amount of figure. How is that amount going to be dispersed?
Wow.
And then the other thing is, how are you going to settle the, like to make sure everybody gets the information? And what kind of information are you going to access from me as a next of kin? What kind of information do you need to access? And what is the procedure that you get to access this information?
This information.
Yes.
Wakili, you are going to take up the role of the government and everybody else to respond to this. But quickly, Serria, you mentioned something that would be the emotional, you know, draining that comes along with all these tussles. What would be your advice to the people who are watching you, to the married couples that are watching you, you know, out of your experience, as to how they can go about some of these matters to avoid scenarios where they have to land in court, where, you know, their children have to go through tough times so that they can manage upon their demise or upon their concerns, their health concerns?
You know, the ideal situation. The ideal situation is, of course, always that we don't die intestate.
Right.
Which means...
Without a will.
Yeah. So I mean, we should write a will, essentially. That is the ideal situation.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we know it doesn't happen.
Right.
So if that doesn't happen, and there is a death in the family, then ideally the only way is to let the family members be able to come together, at least listen to each other.
Right.
Listen to each other. If possible, seek maybe even like a counsel, because let them not fight. At least let them not fight, because unfortunately, when issues of property and inheritance are involved, and particularly because they don't have the correct information, I feel I'm entitled to this, the other one will feel I'm entitled to this, the other one will feel I'm entitled to this.